Hi, my name is Dr. David Wank, and this is a re-record of our webinar, Google Analytics Hands-on Quick Evaluation. I had forgotten to press the record button when we did our original Zoom webinar, so I'm re-recording it now after the fact. So before we do anything else, I'd like you to go here and download the Hands-on Quick Evaluation paper. It's a PDF. Here is the link. Obviously, you can go, it's in the comments on this video, the description, so you can go ahead and grab it there. But we do need this paper because this is what's going to help you follow along so you can look at your data and ask questions about it later. So what I want you to do now is log into Google Analytics. If you're unable to log into Google Analytics or you're having a problem, please email me or find me in Messenger or send us a contact request and I'll help you. You should always have access to your Google Analytics account. This is your data. One of the things that some companies do is they don't allow you to have access, and I completely disagree with that. When you ask a company for access to data, it's almost like someone's asking us for a copy of their file. If you're an attorney or if you're a dentist or a physician, they're asking you for a copy of the records. And honestly, you could say I was at a webinar and I just want to see my data because it is my data. So let's talk about your data. What I have here is a website called helpspa.com. This is a website that I've run for many, many, many years. It's a technical website. I used to write tech blog posts on it, but I haven't really updated it in years. However, there's still a ton of data here, so we can use it as a really good sample to show how we can work with data. So before we do anything else, what I want to show you here is geographic location. One of the biggest issues that I see with anybody in analytics is that they're going to show you data, for example, here's 300 sessions, but only 1 or 2 or 10 of them might be from your local area. So these metrics don't really matter. What matters is the metrics from your area. So in this case, let's just go here and go to audience, and let's go to geo, and let's go to location. I just want to get a quick overview. You're going to see here that our data is from all over the world, which it is, but let's pretend that we are just in the United States or the United Kingdom, wherever you are. We have a guest from the United Kingdom here today on our webinar. We did on the live one. And we can see here, these are the states that have the most users. Now, let's assume for argument's sake we were California, but this is a really good way to show you what's happening. And so let me just increase this range just because I want to show you something as an example. You don't have to do this to follow along. I just want to give you an idea. So here we see, here's where our visitors come from. So I could tell you, hey, you had 2,900 users, or here, 2,900 new users, this year or this period. But you know what? Only 13% came from Virginia. So if you're, an office in Virginia. So the rest of these are really, irrelevant to me. It's nice, but nobody from California is coming to my office in Virginia. So that's why I just wanted to make that clear that this data really matters. And what you can do is, obviously, if you are in Virginia, you can click on Virginia and it's going to give you an idea of where people came from. So in any case, let's reset this over here. I want to go back. This is just for today because I want to use this as an example for you. And let's come back to our audience overview. Okay. So as we said before, what percentage of these users are actually users that are relevant to us? Now, because this is a blog, it's across the world. It's a small blog. It doesn't matter. Geo doesn't matter to me. But as a small business, whether you're an attorney, a physician, a dentist, chiropractor, whatever you are, CPA, your local matters. Now, look, if you're internationally known and you're going to get clients from all over the world or all over the country, terrific. But I'm not sure if your Google search is what's getting them there. It's if someone says, hey, this person in California she's the expert in whatever you need, contact her or fly out to her to get it done, then you're going to anyway. So for this, I want to focus on local search with really local segments, local people, local search too, but I want local. So over here, you see something called all users. What I want to do is called add a segment. What a segment does is it helps us break up our data into pieces or segments. So let's take, for example, let's just pretend that our segment here, we're going to do Chicago, Illinois. Now, I looked before and I know there's data there that we can work with. But let's assume that my office is in Chicago. Let's make a new segment. I already made one earlier, but let's just make one now. So let's go Chicago. Illinois, and I'm just going to make it 2 so it doesn't interfere with the one I made before. Let's click Save. Okay, so now coming down here, what I'm going to do is I want my location. Now notice how it has region, but region is state for those of you in the United States. So I want the location to contain Illinois. Perfect. So let's click Save. And now it's showing me that 3% of my users are from Illinois. This really isn't Chicago yet, right? Because we didn't add Chicago. And the reason I didn't just do Chicago in the first place is there might be many different Chicagos in this country. There's a couple of different Miamis, not Florida, and I don't want to have inaccurate data. So you can come here and go to Conditions, and let's just jump down to City, and we'll click here. City contains Chicago. And let's save this. Great. So now we know we have Chicago, Illinois. What I will say as an aside, if you're in such a small town that you don't have it, what you can certainly do is you can just go by, let's just slide down here. You can go by the state and look at the state level, or pick the nearest big city to you. Under Conditions, pick the nearest big city. That might be helpful. Okay, let's come out of here, and now we're in Chicago. So I don't like to look at data by the week. So let's just take a look at data for March of 2020, because that's the first point in our all visitors list. Remember, we're here on our worksheet. I want to start filling in new users in March and in February. So I'm going to click the down arrow here at the top right, and I'm going to click March and click Apply. So you can see 4.97% of my users were from Chicago. So if my company said to me, hey, whatever it was, you had 300 visitors this month, I did, but really only 59 of them are relevant to me. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead in our worksheet, and where you have it says the number of new users in March, and make sure you have your segment, whatever it is. And if you're not able to do the segment, don't worry about it. I just want you to get the concept down. You can always go back in later and do the segment. So Chicago, Illinois. I want to look at new users. Now, one of the things that you're seeing here, this website is a blog, and we're going to talk more about this later. You're going to look at behavior patterns. On a blog, usually someone does a Google search for some topic, like we'll see later, Microsoft Word, whatever it is. They're going to see the blog post that explains their situation, and then they're going to leave the site. So that's why all of these users are new users. If it's a site like yours, again, no matter what profession you're in, you're probably going to see, the users are lower than new users because you have returning users. So that's just something to consider. That's why this data might look a little bit different than yours. So anyway, March 1st to March 31st, 2020, we have 59 new users. So let's come down and write 59 new users. We're going to put 59 right here in the new users in March. And obviously you can pause this. We're not live, so you can pause this to take a look. And now let's go ahead and do February. And we have 39. Let's come over here and do 39. So why that's the case, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, I just want to get the raw data down, and then we can interpret the data. Now we're going to talk about the different types of ways that you acquire people. And the way you acquire visitors, we're going to look at this in depth and a little bit more later. But let's just take a look at the overview. And here we go. So this is for the month of March. And you can see there's direct, organic, referrer, and social. So direct traffic is simply somebody types in your web address. That's direct. The most common use of direct is when you're looking to check your own website, your developer is checking, any of the agencies you work with, someone's looking to check, you're checking from the office for something, or even if you've got someone who wants to just find out your contact information. One of the problems with any analytics is that you can't really filter out you. It's hard to do that. One of the things that we use is a plugin called Monster Insights, and it's a free plugin for WordPress. And if you're logged in as an admin, it will basically ignore your analytics data. I mean, there are plugins you can use in Chrome, but you've got to, extensions, but you got to remember to turn it off and turn it on. That's a pain in the neck for me. So if you have a plugin like that in WordPress installed, it's really helpful because, again, your data is not perfect, but it makes it a lot more accurate. And accuracy is really what I'm trying to get to with any of this data. No data is going to be perfect, but I want it as accurate as possible. So there's direct search, organic search, and we're going to look at that now. Organic search is when someone types in a search term in your web browser. Let's say it's going to be, patent attorney or implant dentist or dermatologist. And it doesn't matter if it's Bing, if it's Yahoo, which are the same, Google, doesn't matter what it is. It's organic search. Referral is when someone comes to you from another website. Let's say you have a link on a colleague's website and you are the endodontist, you're the root canal specialist, and the general dentist has a link. That would be a referral. And social is anything coming from social sites. So let's take a look now and look at organic search. So what you'll see in analytics is there are many ways to get to different places. So we can come here, you could click here on organic or just click on channels. I like to click channels. This gives you a different look of this. And here we are. Let's just verify that we are Chicago. We are in March. And now let's look at our direct organic search. Okay, 4. All right, and again, most of the traffic to this website these days is bots, automated web bots. So it's not really great data, but it's the concept. So let's go ahead now and write down the number of organic visitors. But what I want to do is I want to do a 3-month period because that is usually a bit better for data. If you happen to be one of these sites that has a ton of traffic, you might not need to. But for most small businesses, you don't get that much data. So it's nice to have January 1st, 2020 to March 31st, so we can at least get an idea now. So organic search, we have 8. And again, that doesn't, this isn't really an active site, so I'm not so worried about that. But we're going to come over here and put under organic visitors, we're going to put 8. And again, pause if you need to take more time, rewind if you need to. That's why the video is here. So we have 8 in January to March. Now, a really cool thing that analytics will do for you is if we click compare to previous period, it's going to calculate the 3 months before. And let's come down and take a look and see. And remember, we're just looking at organic search, and we had 5. Right? Because here's direct search, organic, referral. So all I'm looking at now is organic. And I see that we have 5. So I'm going to put that down in the next spot. What I also want you to take out of this is don't necessarily look at these summary numbers. These summary numbers are not really relevant for all of our purposes. There's acquisition, which we're talking about today, behavior, which we'll talk about in another webinar, and conversions we'll talk about another time as well. But if you look here, for example, at your users, you'd say, wow, 70% increase in users, whatever I'm doing is terrific. Well, not really, because I'm telling you now, or take it on fact that I'm telling you these are web bots. So if we were actually doing marketing, I'd say, look, you had 3 organic searches more in 3 months, which isn't so great, but so that's the answer. The fact that you're having all this direct traffic, you see, that messes up this number. This is not accurate, at least for what, yes. Is it accurate that you have direct traffic? Yes. But is it accurate in the sense that it's traffic that, we could use to get new patients or get new clients? No, it's not relevant there. So that's why, these are vanity metrics that don't apply across the board. You've got to dig deeper in. So that's why if I send you a report that says, hey, you have a 70% increase in new users, that's fantastic. I'm doing a great job for you. Well, not really, because you only had, 60%, but it's a difference of 3. You didn't have a lot of increase. So that's just something really important that I'm going to keep going over and over again is that we have to make sure that we have good data. So you should have filled out these 4 spots. And now what I'd like to do is we're going to look at the top 3 pages that people visit. So we're going to come down here. Let's just for now get rid of our custom comparison. And let's take a look, and we're going to come here to behavior, and we're going to go to overview. Actually, let's go to, make it even easier, let's go to all pages. Yeah, this is what I want. So let's just again double check that we're in our segment. We have our time frame, 3 months, and here we go. So what kind of patterns can we look to see? So let's write down the top 3. For me, it's going to be, Microsoft Office, something about Word 2010 that I wrote a long time ago, Microsoft Word, networking, homepage, this slash is the homepage, Microsoft Word. So we're getting a pretty good idea here that people are interested in Microsoft Word. So that's, that's important. So what about all these articles I wrote, about this thing I wrote here about whatever this is, free digital photo, here, more memory in Windows XP, which is discontinued. Well, we still got traffic, but people aren't interested in that. So this is telling me whether I like it or not. I might say, I hate writing articles about Microsoft Word. But you know what? People want to know about Microsoft Word. So it's important to recognize what the visitors are finding on your site. Now, of course, let's say you might find that the page that you expect to be at the top is not the page that you see at the top. So let's take, for example, that you're a CPA and you've written an article January, February, and March all about the upcoming, tax deadline in April, forgetting that it's been extended right now. And you think that these are the greatest posts. And you go to your website and it turns out these are not the things that people are searching for, even though you wrote them. So what that means is, A, people are not really interested in what you have written, or you're just not getting traffic to those posts. But generally speaking, if you kind of set it and forget it and come back and look at the data, it's going to tell you. Now, what you might find is that people are interested in whatever it happens to be, how to maximize your refund or when to take X, Y, and Z deduction. And even though that might not be what you want to talk about, that's what your people want to read about. So one of the things I tell all of our clients, regardless of their profession, of their vertical, is that write articles about different things that make sense to you. So if you're a dermatologist, maybe you write 2 articles about skin cancer. Maybe you write 2 articles about stop. So what I tell a lot of people, stop. So one thing I tell our clients is when we write articles, if you really want to get a better idea of what people are searching for, other than doing SEO where we can actually get a really good idea, write 2 or 3 articles or 1 a month about important topics to your practice. And that way you can get an idea of what people are looking at. So if you're a dentist, for example, maybe you write an article about teeth whitening and, how you have to take care of your teeth after that. And you can't have any red wine or any dark foods. And then you write another article about teeth whitening, about the different types of whitening. Then you do, let's say, one about dental implants and about dental bridges. Then you do another one about implant dentures and regular dentures. So this way you've got a bunch of articles on some different topics, and then you can come back here and see, well, you know what, these are what people want to see. So the take home here is that I want you to understand that take a look at what people are searching for or what they're finding on your website, and you take the hint. This is what people are looking at. And if you don't like the topics they're looking at, maybe you should start liking the topics they're looking at. And if there are topics that you think are fabulous, but are all the way at the bottom here, well, I'm sorry that the people don't want to read what you're writing, but we have to look and see what the people want, because that's always what it is. How can we appeal to our customers? And if you want to extend this more to get a little bit better data, which we certainly could, especially if you have less traffic, let's just pick, whatever, doesn't matter. March 1st, 2019, a wider rate. Nope, didn't do it. March 1st, 2019. Let's see if anything's changed. Maybe it has. Office, the networking thing. Yeah, so not much has changed. But you can see here that, I've done it for the years. So this has just reinforced the fact that Microsoft Word is what people who come here want to read about, assuming they were real people and not, web bots. Okay. The last thing I want to mention here is that what I did a while ago is last summer, I took, I think it was 20 or 30 of our clients, and I looked at the data on their page views just to get an idea to see if I see something, across our clients. And I noticed that after the homepage, again, root, this is the root symbol or the slash, the /, meet the doctor or meet the provider, those were the most popular pages. I would figure that whatever your most popular services would have been, whether it was, dental implants or, litigation services or whatever it happens to be, I would have thought that your top service was the most searched page. It wasn't. It was the homepage, and then, meet the doctor, meet the dentist, meet the attorney. Those were the most popular pages that were being seen. And so what I would tell you is, as much as the content on your website matters, your bio matters too. It's really important. People are not just looking at who's got the lowest price or who has the nicest website across, again, all of these 20 or 30 sites. They were all looking at the provider's bio. And so that's really, really important. So what you might consider doing with one of those pages that you wanted people to read that they weren't, is maybe on your bio, you have your bio and you trained here and you did this and that with a nice picture, and then a link to that article you want them to read. Or you can direct them there. If we know people are going there, it makes sense to put a link on that page to somewhere else in the website that we want them to go. Guide them through their experience. And as an aside, on that page, please don't put anything outrageous or expensive. You might be a single person who saved all of your money and you collect, antique sports cars. It's great. It doesn't matter, because what your patients are going to see is they're going to see you using their money to buy antique sports cars. It doesn't matter that you're, 58 years old and you have spent a dime on nothing but sports cars and you live in a 300 by 300 foot apartment, square foot apartment, and you only eat, soup, and you saved all your money. It doesn't matter. It is it's the message that people see. So please be careful with your messaging. Show them that you're a person, show them that you have a family or a puppy or whatever it is, but don't show them that you're vacationing for 12 days in Hawaii with your family at a 5-star hotel. Save that for your friends on Facebook or wherever it is, but don't put that on your potential client facing website, because it's not, they don't want to see how you are using their money. So at this point, you should have these top 3 listed here. And now we're going to look at users by channel again. We're going to take a better look at that. So we're going to come down here up to acquisition, all traffic, channels. And we still have March 1st to March 31st. Excellent. 3 months selected. So, and moving back for a sec, take a look at the data that works for you when it comes to the top 3. If you find that you have enough data here, great. If you want to move back, to January, this is 2019. If you want to move back to January, for example, I put March here, but for our next example, but if you want to put January, do it so you can get data. Or if 3 months isn't enough, go 6 months back. The point is, I want you to see what's happening. And the same thing here. So we are now up to, like I said, default channels. Here are the channels. We're in Chicago still, right? Let's see. And we are there. Great. Now, so direct traffic, we have 53 visitors, 4 and 2. And this is where our traffic is coming from. And notice what's missing is there's no social traffic here. Fine, I don't do any social, on HubSpot. But let's go ahead and bring this back to 2019, because I just want to see it, just to give you an example. And now we have some more data. So we can see direct traffic, organic traffic, referral traffic. And if you were, paying a website to send you referral traffic, you would know it's not working. Or, for example, if you are a member of the local chamber of commerce or something like that, and they said, you have to pay to put a listing on, or even if you don't, the fact is we're not getting a lot of referral traffic. And we'll dig in more and show you later about that as well, about where that referral traffic, those referral sources. We'll look at that shortly. One of the things I want to mention and go back to organic is when you look at your organic traffic, or any traffic data for that matter, let's look at organic search. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the Chicago segment because I want to show you about trends. Actually, you know what? We'll do that in the end. Forget about that for now. So let's go back. We're back to referrals. So I want you to write down over here in organic, direct, social, and referral, write down, I want to see, so we can actually do like this. Let's take a look at the last 3 months. It's usually a very good number to work with. And let's click apply. So I want you to write down these numbers for the last 3 months on number 6. We have 106 for us. We have 8 and 3. And then let's go ahead and just compare to the previous period, just so we have a reference point. And again, forget about, these numbers here. But so we had 106, and then we have 64. We have, what do we see here? We have 8 and 5 under organic, 3 and 0. Still no social. But that's okay, because that's the nature of this website. What this data is going to tell us is that I hope we weren't doing a lot of campaigns on Facebook and LinkedIn and on social, because whatever it is, it's not converting. Now, let's expand this to another year, just because I want to show you some referral data. And we're going to look at our referrals. So what a referral is someone sent us, wait a minute, oh, that's why. Because this segment, there's no data, because Chicago, for here is such a small amount of our traffic. I'm going to remove Chicago just to show some broad data so you can see. Okay. So what this is telling me here is, let's just double check, all of our users. Hold on. Oh, right, referral traffic. That makes sense. I was wondering why. Let me just fix this here. Let's hit cancel. Right, so referral traffic is 4.61% of our users, in this time frame. Now, here we have the list of where people are coming from. And what's interesting to me, so what can you see here that's interesting? So our number one referral source is DuckDuckGo. This is some spam site. Ecosia.org, I don't know what that is. Facebook, Bing, Yahoo, YouTube, Yahoo UK. Okay, so now I want you to write down your top referral sources. And even if there's a spam one, you can write it down too, because that's one you're going to want to get rid of, because at least you can configure the data so you don't see that one in there. That's not helpful. The fact that I have 338 new users, these 51, really mess up my numbers because they're not relevant to me or anybody, because they're just, they're traffic, they're bots. So you're going to come over here, you're going to write those referral sources down. So now we have our referral sources, and this is interesting because DuckDuckGo, you can look and see what data is this. I don't see Google on here, which says to me either these bots are using DuckDuckGo or my audience is a DuckDuckGo liking audience. DuckDuckGo is another search engine. For those of you who don't know, it's a search engine that presents themselves as not Google because they don't save any of your data. You can very easily wipe your history. The last thing I want to talk about before we analyze your data is bounce rates on your homepage. So we're going to come back here and let's just do these 3 months, January 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2020. And we're going to go to behavior, site content, all pages. And we're going to look here at the homepage. Again, a reminder that the bounce rate here, 94%, it's very different on each page. So looking at aggregate bounce rate data, just like we said, looking at aggregate page view data when comparing doesn't make sense, aggregate bounce rate data doesn't make sense either. So look at bounce rate data on a page by page basis. So here we are. Let's take a look where we are. We're at all users, these 3 months, and our homepage. The bounce rate is how many people came and then left. What you will see on a blog site, let's move back. What you're going to see on a blog is that people are going to visit the website, or for your blog pages even. So people will visit, like here. They did a search for what does it mean to enable the wireless radio. They got to my page, they read what they want, and they left. This makes perfect sense to me. They had a question, my post answered their question, and then they went along their business. Now, same thing for all of these blog posts. However, if you have other pages like your About page or your Services page or whatever your main service page is, if the bounce rates are really high on those pages, that's something to be concerned about. We don't want a situation where someone's on your homepage, goes to your About page, goes to that page that we talked about that you wanted them to go to, and then they leave. That means they don't like what they see there. And the way I teach bounce rate when I lecture is think about it like soup. So here's the homepage, and what this means is that 70%, so 7 out of 10 people who got to the homepage left without going to any other pages. So that means you own a restaurant, you made some soup, 7 out of 10 people tasted your soup and walked out the door before they went on to the, they didn't get to the main course. And that says to me, there is something wrong with the soup. One of the services that we offer before, or that we require, when someone comes to us and says, I want to do SEO or I want more traffic, you got to determine if you have a messaging problem or a traffic problem. In this case, I would say this is, we know that, look, if I have 182 unique page views on a legal, medical, dental, accounting site, I'd be very happy. But if 70% of them leave when they get to the homepage, which on most of your sites is going to be the most popular page, probably by a large margin, I don't want to send you more traffic. If you pay me money and I send you 1,000 new visitors, I'm making that up, or if I send you 100 new visitors, 70 of them are already gone. So in this case, what we'd want to do is we would want to say, what can we do to bring this bounce rate down? And that's conversion optimization. What can we do looking at that homepage? Why are people leaving? Now, if you had 2 visitors, well, that data is not, you have to make a judgment call. With 182 visitors, it's a pretty reasonable number. With 4 visitors, maybe not. So maybe if you only have 4 visitors, we have to drive more traffic. It's a balancing act. But obviously, if you see pages, critical pages like your homepage with a really high bounce rate, that means people are coming and they're not like what they're seeing. And that is really, really important. So if you want to put somewhere over here as well, just put a note right here what your homepage bounce rate is, right? Bounce rate equals, whatever that number is. That's important. What you also want to do is let's do a comparison of that homepage bounce rate. And the reason is because sometimes we update the homepage. And you can see here, that's interesting, the bounce rate was 44% in this section on the homepage, but 70%. So I would say to you, well, maybe something happened. Maybe we updated the website and did something and said, hey, I thought it's a great idea. Let's move things around. And it turns out that was not a good idea. So think about when you look at the data before you say, oh my gosh, this changed. Think about what changed. Maybe we redesigned the website and we didn't do such a great job because, and look here too. If this were, 214 against 182, those numbers are pretty close. But if you're looking here, and you had, let's say, 4 visitors, you can't go by that percentage. So you've got to kind of look and get a rough idea of what's happening. What I can see here is that roughly we have this very similar number of page views and the bounce rate is really different. And so I'd want to explore why. I want to think about what happened that made that different. So now your entire worksheet should be filled out. If it's not, I want you to pause and go back and finish filling out the worksheet. And now we can come back and talking about, for a little bit, what this data means. So I have my data in front of me. And the first question we're going to look at are these all visitors, number 1 and 2. Are visitors increasing or decreasing? So if we find that we have our visitors are increasing, that the number of users in March is higher than the number in February, that's great. If we find they're decreasing, not as great. But what we do also want to see is you want to see a trend. And it doesn't matter if we're looking at organic visitors or new users, it doesn't matter. But what I want to look at is trends. So let me get out of here for a second and let us take a look. We're going to look January to March. And let's look at, we can look at all of the people. So let's just come to audience, and let's look at overview. And let's click month. I like the month view better. So in this case, I can see January 1st, and this is all of our users. So let's go back to my Chicago segment, Chicago IL2, and let's click to enable that segment, right? Because showing you all the data that's not local, assuming we're local here, doesn't really matter to me. So, okay, January 1st to March 1st, 2020, Chicago, we had how many users? 19 users. We went up to 59 users. So if we had said, this is great, we're running a marketing campaign, we're doing all these things, visitors are increasing, I'm happy with this number. But before we get very happy, I want to know where they're coming from. So one of the things we can do is we can let's take a look at our channels. Specifically, I want to look at organic. Let's come down to acquisition. We can look at our overview. And let's look at this. I can tell you right now, we can see this, right, same settings. This traffic was direct traffic, which I'm telling you is probably spam bots. So this is the real data to look at. But we can go ahead and look here anyway. Let's look at organic traffic, because this is a really important one. Actually, I want to back up here for a minute. Let's just go to channels and keep it regular with organic search. This is important because organic search is free. Now, you may be paying someone to do SEO for you, so that part isn't free, but this is traffic from all search engines, Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatever it is, DuckDuckGo. Now, I don't have a lot of data here, So I'm just going to go like this to show you some data. And let's go to month. And okay, this is bizarre. Hold on. Let me get rid of Chicago again. For you, I want you to keep your segment. I'm going to remove it so we have data to show you. But if we can look here, this is terrific. So, I had 400 organic visitors, then it dropped down by 100, it dropped, and then boom, it went back up again. This is fantastic. Now we can think about, why is that happening? Is this happening because let's say we started doing some SEO here, and that's why it went up? Or did we start writing a lot of articles and when it went up? So not just what the data is, but what happened, that's really important to figure out why. If this were reverse and it went down, I'd say, uh-oh, what's going on? We had a case like that recently where a client, think of this, graph in reverse. A client had data like this, and they switched web providers who did something to their website, and it dropped off the map. And it turns out that whatever it was, they had done something. And then what we did is we went in there and we fixed it, and then we saw the curve go back up again. So that's the trend you want to see. Did it matter the exact number? No. But I wanted to see a trend that if something drops down, I want to see it, we know we started doing a fix here in January to our problem, and boom, we're back up. So that is why that is critical to any success, is to know whether your traffic is going up or going down, especially if you're paying for traffic. It's really important. Same thing for, let's take a look if we did the social. Let's say you did a ton of work on social. This is our social segment. That's organic. Let me move us back. And there we go. Let's look at social. So 28 visits to social in over a year. So, and let's look at the month. So you can see, it was down and down, boom, now it goes up. Why? Again, this is all just random bot traffic, and I'm not looking into why this is, but if we started doing a social media campaign, this makes sense. The other number to look at, though, is to say, wow, it's only 28 people, so that's not really so great. I mean, this is looking at users, by the way. This is not looking at social. Let's look at social. There we go. So you can see, it's inconsistent. But this is what I want. I want you to look at trends, see what's happening. If you saw here, let's say multiply this by 100, 300, 300, 100, 100, 0, 100, 100. Oh, there's a dip there. Well, that's when we paused our campaign. So that makes sense. Your data should make sense. Try and find a reason to explain why the data is what it is. All right. In terms of your top pages, think about, and we touched on this a lot actually, are the pages you would expect? Are your dental implant pages and your Invisalign pages, or your whatever you're doing, are those pages the top pages? And if they're not, why are those not the top pages? Is it because people can't get there? Is it because people are not navigating to the pages? Are they not showing up organically? Why are we not getting to the pages you expect? And then look at the pages that we didn't expect to see. I didn't expect to see the meet the team page or meet the doctor page. So take advantage of the fact that people are telling you what they want to see, and take advantage of it. Same thing with your channels. We back up here to your channels, the overall channels. Think about globally what we're doing. If we're spending a lot of money on social, and for whatever reason that's just not coming in, that's weird. And so why is it not coming in? What's happening that the social data is not coming in? Because I would expect it to be higher. If we see it drop, I know this isn't the social data, but if we saw the social data drop, I would expect it to go higher because now we're doing more social. And in terms of referrals, what sites are giving us the most referrals? DuckDuckGo is, again, usually used by a more technical audience. And so that's, something to think about. Maybe my audience is more technical. And that could tell me something about how I should write my articles. Ecosia.org, I don't know what that is, but let's assume it's something good. It gave us visitors. And so here you're just looking at acquisition. And like I said, we're going to talk about behavior and conversions another time. But what a conversion is in a nutshell is somebody does something that we want them to do. They take an action. And in this case, let's say contacting us is the action we want to take, whether we're getting a new client, a new patient, whatever it is. So now if we found that, and let's say this said contact requests submitted. And we found that DuckDuckGo had, look, 106 visitors, but, we had one goal completion here, or, 1%, but that Ecosia had 27 and we had 4 conversions. Just because the number of sessions or new users is low doesn't mean it's a bad search. Let's say here we had 8 from the United Kingdom, uksearch.yahoo.com. It's all users go, just making sure, because that wouldn't fit in our Chicago filter. But let's say of those 8 people, 6 of them converted. Well, that's terrific, which means that maybe there's something about my website that is attractive to my users from the UK, or they're finding stuff there that they really like. So let's take advantage of that and say, well, if I know that if I have 8 visitors and I'm getting 6 contact requests, what can I do to get 16 visitors? Maybe get more contact requests. So that's why this is important. We will talk about conversions in another webinar, but I just want you to understand that this actually matters. I don't even bother with it on HubSpot, but this matters because just because someone's getting a ton of traffic from somewhere doesn't mean it's good traffic. That's why conversions matter. So if a company, let's say I'm paying ecosia.org to send me this traffic, and I can say to Ecosia, listen guys, I got 27 visitors, but nobody submitted a contact request. It's not worth it for me to pay for it. Oh, but the traffic is so good. And it's like, well, no, it's not, because here's the data. I'm not getting any conversions. Or if, again, we saw that I had, 5 conversions and each conversion is worth more to me, than I'm paying them, or, makes it worth it, say, wow, what can we do to increase the traffic? Can I put an ad on your website or increase the presence of my ad on your website so I can get more people? You want to know what works and then repeat that. Same thing for, local Chamber of Commerce. I have, with the Chamber of Commerce, I've got Chamber of Commerce, listing for my company. It comes with the membership. And I don't think they offer paid advertising, but if I saw that the people who came to shorthillsdesign.com or shorthillslegal.com a lot of people were coming from the Chamber of Commerce, I might not be able to get a link from that, but that might tell me there are people in my local area who are interested. So I might want to do, try and market to that segment somehow, or talk to the Chamber of Commerce and say, can you show me some data or something so I can take advantage of that? Along those lines, when it comes to getting links, and then we'll wrap up, one of the ways that Google ranks a website when it comes to SEO, your search rankings, it's really ranking web pages, is they look at a whole host of factors. I've got another video that goes all into those factors. If you want to email me or get in touch with me, and I can show you where these videos are. But the important thing is that one of the factors is who links to you. And that is basically a popularity contest. I'm a general dentist. And if I think that, you as the root canal specialist, as the endodontist, are fabulous, I'm going to tell a patient, go see Dr. Smith, she's fabulous. I'm not going to say that if I don't like Dr. Smith, if I don't think she's fabulous. So when you give a link to somebody, you're endorsing them at a certain level. And so people don't just give away links. So one of the things that you need to do is get links. And the easy links to get are whatever professional societies you're in. If the Bar Association has a directory, get your profile on there and get the link to your website. If you, member the Academy of General Dentistry or the American Dental Association or the American Medical Association, anything that you can get a link to you. Now, calling up someone and saying, hi, I'm a dentist and I want you to put a link on your website to mine. Well, what are you going to do for me? But you want to look at what your competitors have in terms of their links and try and get these low-hanging fruit. If you teach at, the college or university, try and get a link. I know that when I was a chief resident, we still didn't get a parking spot. So it's hard to get a link, but take the free ones that you have. Any professional societies, any products that you use. For dentists, if you use Care Credit or any of these other services, any of these listing services, insurance companies that, when I hurt my knee playing hockey, I needed to find an orthopedic surgeon. I went to my insurance company's website. I found a list of people in my area and I looked on their websites to see, and I did go to the about page to make sure they weren't, too young or too old, but I wanted to find a balance. But that is a way that you can drive traffic to your website by getting those kind of links. So that's just what I wanted to show you, and that you can use the data from links to see if it's actually working. If you're getting links from XYZ website and they're converting into traffic, that's really good. So just because someone is sending you traffic doesn't mean it's good traffic. It means that it's traffic. If they're converting and doing what you want them to do, picking up the phone, becoming new patients, whatever that is the traffic that I want to see. So that concludes our webinar and concludes the recording. I thank you so much for staying this far and for listening. So I'll give you the same offer that I offered the people who are at the live webinar. If you'd like to take your copy of this, fill it out, and send it to me, I'd be more than happy to look at it with you, the complimentary consultation. You can take a photograph of it and send it to me. You can email it to me, text it to me, scan it, send it to me on Messenger, however you'd like to get it to me. But the most important thing is I want you to get this data down. And then when you have a chance, look at the numbers and just think about why you're seeing the numbers that you're seeing. And once you can understand that, then you can really start to make changes for the better on your website. So any questions, you let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day and you stay healthy and you stay safe. And I hope to hear from you soon.